What did you say? Scavenger Scum.
Hello everyone, I'm Erin and welcome to Scavenger Scum. With the recent events, we wanted to do something really fun for you guys. Let's start off with an unboxing mystery box with Ella.
Hydration.
That's water. Hello friends, today I am joined by my niece,
Me, Ella.
Ella. Ella is joining me today on the Star Wars unboxing. Are you excited?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we are going to get her to open up this lovely mystery box. So on the back, these are the options, but who do you hope you want? Who do you hope that you get?
Ray.
Ray?
Yes.
Okay. I hope you get Chewie or a Pictorian Guard. Chewie because I love Chewie. Pictorian Guard because I love red. Okay, so let's hope.
I don't like tomatoes and they're red.
Okay, so
But I'm okay with the color red.
okay,
Just
okay.
not tomatoes.
All right. Dig in, girl. Let's see what it is. All right.
Grand.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh. It's to build. What's that word I'm looking for?
Build up.
Suspense. Yes. We should have brought scissors to the set today.
I got it. It's BB-8.
Yay! That's exciting! Oh my
BB-8.
Are you excited?
Yes.
He's so cute.
Yes.
Oh, can the camera see him?
You can't see his face though.
I know, he's a little bit distorted, but he's so cute.
There you go.
Hey,
Here's his face.
that was fun.
Yes.
Thanks for doing that.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, hope you guys are having a great, what's it called, quarantine, and staying safe out there. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Erin, and this is
Ella.
Whoop whoop. Catch you later. Cheers. The Clone Wars has been back for weeks now, and Brock is obsessed. Here's Andrew and Brock.
Hello, Andrew. As always, it's a pleasure.
The question mark says everything. Yeah, it is a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to talk about Star Wars and about Clone Wars, even though it's, we're getting Clone Wars in a way that I've never experienced yet because I never watched Clone Wars when it was live.
Yeah.
Did you?
I don't think so. I don't know. I remember it being hard to watch it, like in Canada, like just when it was on. I don't know if it was YTV or Teletoon, but it was hard, and it goes so far back that I think I had to torrent it so I could actually watch full seasons. I was a pirate, ahoy! But yeah, it is nice being like, oh, I only have an episode once. I guess it's, I in my head I'm like, oh, this is not new, but I'm thinking of Rebels, right? So Rebels I watched on a regular basis.
Right. I was the same with Rebels, and the whole, I forget what the station, Disney XD, I think it's called. We don't get that here. So
no, we do now.
We do now.
Yeah.
Now everything's easier.
Yeah.
But I remember when Rebels was coming out, I would have to go to a special site that streamed it for me, and I watched it there. And the quality wasn't always great. Sometimes it was really loud for no reason, and sometimes it was the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So I think I caught the gist of everything Thrawn was saying, but thank God for Blu-rays. But here we are. We're on season 7 of the Attack of the Lookalike People Wars, and we have our first 4-episode arc, The Bad Batch, A Distant Echo, On the Wings of Kirdax, and Unfinished Business. Now, this arc troubled me, Brock, when they said that this was going to be our first arc. And the reason it troubled me was simply because it felt like, in my head, we're getting our final season, and it's only 12 episodes long, so it should be important stuff. It should be really heavy story stuff that closes up all the loose ends and makes everything feel significant. And instead, I felt like this first arc, we were just getting their leftovers.
Yeah, I guess it felt like a typical Clone Wars season. I don't know. I'm not sure how to like respond because it's sort of like we kind of trust in everything Filoni does. So if at the end of the day, if this is what he wants to make, you kind of can't argue it because it's sort of he wanted to finish it, and maybe it's frustrating for him too. As a whole, is like, well, this should have been done years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know if we can even. Because now, in between when that show went off and now, they had a whole new series, Rebels. They started Resistance, which is still on, I believe, and then all these Star Wars movies in between. So it's sort of like, can you make a true ending to his story without being affected by all the outside effects? Now, if season 7 links to Rebels, I'm not going to be mad. But you know what I mean? Like, it's... and, like, also the Ahsoka part of it, like, where Ahsoka returning in Rebels was like, whoa! I even watched that episode recently. But, is it going to take away Ahsoka coming back in Clone Wars, you know? And that's what we're all excited for. Like, I mean, I think it won't have a huge effect, because the trailer came out and you see Ahsoka seeing Anakin for the first time in however long. So, that's what got us excited. But, you know what I mean? Like, perhaps it's sort of... Filoni's just in the back of his head is like, I've been wanting to finish this. Let's finish it. So that kind of makes me, I don't know, whatever. I thought the 4 episodes were decent, but I get where you're coming from, where it's like, that wasn't overly exciting.
Yeah, it's and I don't like being a downer. I'm not trying to trash on the show or anything like that. It's just, for me, we had 6 seasons of clones shooting at droids, and it was all good fun. And now here we are. It's the end game now, Doctor Strange, and we have 12 episodes left, and 4 of them are just clones shooting at droids some more. It was so. Like, imagine if the first half hour of Rise of Skywalker had just been like Jar Jar making pee jokes. I don't know, like if it was something where it's like, okay, that was cute at the beginning, but it's crunch time. You know what I mean? Like we let's close up this story. We've only got so much time left. But you're right. What we are looking ahead to now is 8 weeks. 8 weeks? Yeah, 8 weeks of what looks to be much heavier stuff. What looks to be Ahsoka-filled stuff. What looks to be Mandalore-filled stuff. Things that matter to Star Wars lore, not things that just matter to the clones and the robots, but to Star Wars lore. And for me, the highlight of this 4-episode arc was that little exchange between Anakin and Padme, and Rex is there guarding the door. He's totally wingmanning Anakin, and you got Padme in that hologram. she's touching her belly, Brock.
Yeah.
She knows there's stuff going on there. And for a second, like, she was making it so obvious. I was like, girl, Anakin's going to find out, and he's not supposed to find out yet. What are you doing? But that talk was really, it sold it for me that we're coming up to the end. Revenge of the Sith is coming. She's almost showing. It's only a matter of time.
So, like, yeah, that's fun, because it's sort of how much are we going to link up with Revenge of the Sith, because I believe it's going to overlap, so it's occurring while the show's going on. I'm really excited to see that. I definitely I don't know how in depth they're gonna go, but like to see someone cut up Revenge of the Sith and these episodes and put them together is like, this is what's happening all at the same time. I'm like, oh.
That's if there's, I don't know if you ever daydream about this, Brock, or if it's just me, but if there's a heaven, I imagine heaven is a place where you can sit down in like a giant movie theater all to yourself, so you don't have to hear people talking, and you can watch everything that's ever been made of Star Wars as a movie, and it looks perfect and beautiful, and it's all in chronological order. You can do that if you want. That's what heaven is to me. I can watch Ahsoka fight Grievous, and then a second later it can cut to like Mustafar, or I don't know, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, that'd be wonderful.
One day.
But at what point do you get tired of Star Wars? You know what I mean? Like, well, you could do that technically now, but at what point do you count out? But you're in heaven, so like you don't get tired and you don't get bored. Interesting.
Yeah, it's the rules don't apply there.
I feel like heaven would put you in the movie where you're just like, I'm watching. So yeah, no, that would be wonderful.
We'll get there one day, and then we'll have a heaven-based podcast. It's called "We Made It." The
We
Rebel
Made It.
Scum podcast. And we're talking about everybody's experiences with how they're watching
Yeah.
Star Wars with the magic of heaven. But we got some new droids, some new battle droids
Yes.
in this arc, Brock. And I want to ask you about them because I think they're kind of cool. And they have these weird skinny bodies and they fly. I don't know why I did this. That's more like Enchantress.
It's the international
Suicide
symbol
Squad.
for
That has nothing
flying.
to do with the droids. But like they're so unique and so cool looking, and we've never seen them before or since. Like they are just gone. What do you think their deal is?
I don't know. It's sort of I was thinking it was just because Wat Tambor is on the planet. It's like, well, I get to make whatever I want. These are my droids because it's like I'm thinking like the battle droids had a different look to them. Like they had like a mohawk, and then I was like, are these supposed to be like the Na'vi on that planet where he's modeling his droids to look like the natives, and I'm like, ooh. But yeah, you know what? It's just started thinking back. It's like I wasn't engaged too much by the droids. I don't know why. I think it was just like I was really wrapped up. Was like, who are the Bad Batch? What has happened to Echo? Is he going to betray them or not, or what's going on? Like I was interested in that. Also, I have this bad habit of watching these episodes at like 6:30 in the morning when I wake up on a Friday. So it's sort of I have to watch them twice. But yeah, no, I like the switch up. Yeah, no, it was great.
It's funny you say that 6:30 in the morning because for me, I was the same way, and particularly with Mandalorian. Now, every time I think of Mandalorian, I think of my living room bathed in the dawn glow because I was always waking up super early, especially the day that Disney Plus came out because I was like, I gotta get on that. So every time I've watched Mandalorian, it's been like the crack of dawn. There's just blue light cutting through the gloom of my apartment. I'll always associate Mandalorian with the wee hours of the morn. But the whole Echo thing is kind of it was, I don't know what the right word for it was because I kept hearing for months and months and months was three words, Brock. I kept hearing the Bad Batch, the Bad Batch, the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Even beforehand when there was no season 7.
Yeah.
Filoni and company were still talking about those animatics, and they're like, look, here's an unfinished episode, the Bad Batch, the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Now we get these 4 episodes, and the first one's called Surprise, the Bad Batch. And we meet them, and I'm like, okay, these 4 guys are neat. I like them. One of them looks like Rambo. There's a Rambo clone. That's neat. One of them's basically Donatello. Fine, cool. So we meet the Bad Batch, and then, like, halfway through this arc, like, at the end of episode 2, everything just becomes about Echo, and the Bad Batch are just kind of like background characters now.
Yeah.
And it really transitioned in a weird way, and I wasn't sure how I felt about that because it's like, I guess it's because I spent so many years hearing about the Bad Batch was this cool thing we never got to do, and then here they are, and never mind them now. Here's Echo, somebody who I was just thinking was dead this whole time. Same with Trench, the Spider-Man,
Yeah.
who is now not dead the whole time. So did you feel that way too? Like, did the Bad Batch come in swinging and then they just kind of got shoved to the side? Or
Yeah.
am I crazy?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was sort of like, well, and it's funny. Like Hunter feels like he's supposed to be the leader, but at some point in like 3rd or 4th episode, or maybe 2nd, 3rd episode, oh god, what was the sniper's name?
Oh,
There was Tech,
Headshot?
Wrecker,
No.
Hunter, and then the sniper guy.
Yeah.
Long
Targets?
shot? Target? Anyways, it seemed like in the 2nd or 3rd episode, he was more the leader at one point, which is, I have no problem. I mean, they're a small squad. They don't need leadership. They need to work as a team. Yeah, it's sort of, and especially the way it ends, where Echo goes off with them. Spoilers. I hope they come back, but I feel like this is like the last season of Game of Thrones, where you're like, you have to do this and this and this, and you only have this many episodes left over. How are you gonna fit
exactly.
that in? Like,
That's a much better analogy than my Rise of Skywalker Jar Jar thing. You said it exactly. Game of Thrones, crunch time, get moving.
I hate to say it, but maybe this storyline would have been better in another season where it's like, so when they show up at the midnight hour, you're like, oh, perfect.
Agreed.
I don't know. I guess I'm just thankful that we get this, so I just sort of like let it go. But I'm interested in the Ahsoka stuff because ever since she came back in Rebels and just all the stuff that happens in Rebels, I'm like, I want to know more. I should really. I know you've read it and you didn't really like it that much. I really should read the Ahsoka novel because I think her character is very interesting and there could be a lot to it. I'm surprised Marvel hasn't put out an Ahsoka comic.
Oh, I don't get it. Like, I don't know. I feel like Filoni just won't let them because there's no way they didn't reach out and be like, let us make this comic.
Yeah.
I feel like Filoni's super protective and he's got a plan.
Yeah,
Like,
which
I trust me. I know what I'm doing with this. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. I feel like he's got that just waiting to use because there's no world in which an Ahsoka comic wouldn't be a good idea.
Yeah. It's actually bizarre. I haven't even thought of that. Like, I think occasionally they'll drop her in when like Vader's thinking about something. It always seems to be like, you know, the comic trope where it's like when you're thinking about something and all the people that care about you or surround their heads like float around you. So it's always like Obi-Wan, Padme, maybe Luke, and then in the last few years, probably I think it was Star Wars Ascendancy, the one that was they put out between the New Hope Star Wars and then the Empire Strikes Star Wars ongoing. And there's a picture of Ahsoka there, so I think there's
cool.
So how do they not make this into a comic? It's weird because like Ahsoka's in Galaxies of Adventure. What was that? What was that YouTube thing called? You know, Tales
of Destiny.
Galaxy. That one. Isn't she in like a couple episodes?
Oh, she's in a bunch of episodes.
Yeah,
'cause they were focusing on like the leading ladies.
Yeah,
and at the she's one of the leading ladies. So yeah, they did about 4 or 5, I think, with her in it.
So that's interesting. Why have they done that? Anyways, I don't know. But yeah, I'm really excited for Ahsoka's stuff to come out. So.
Same, and I hope, like you said, when we get into these final 8 episodes, I think it'd be cool if the Bad Batch gets involved somehow, so that this doesn't feel superfluous. So that it feels like, yeah, you sat through this introduction of them, but it's going to pay off later.
Right.
Because, you know, if they come in at the 11th hour and save the day in episode 11, and that helps, you know, Ahsoka and Anakin do whatever it is they're doing, then we're all the better for it. Then we're like, yes, this has a reason for existing now. And it's going to feel a lot more connected and like part of the plan. Because I feel like whatever plan Filoni has for these final 8 might not necessarily have been the plan back 7, 8, 9 years ago when he was making Clone Wars. I feel like these 8 episodes are going to be very reliant on what we have seen from the Disney era now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited. It's scary. It's scary to think of what may or may not happen. Well, you know what? I'm pretty optimistic. We live in, as I always say, we live in the post-Mandalorian world, so everything is amazing now. Or there's a new precedent, so it's like, hooray for everything. I love Clone Wars.
We saw a Quarren, Brock. We got to see a Quarren.
Yeah!
Everything's possible now.
Anything is possible!
Hi, I'm Evan. There's been so many Star Wars books. Aha! Here's one in the wilds. Here's Andrew with his top favorites books.
One more time. Hey everybody, Andrew Fantasia here, and we are going to be talking about these Star Wars books that you can read while you're quarantining yourself to pieces. So we got James talking about books on Rising Moons and all the great things you can do Star Wars related to ease your time during this quarantine. So right here, I'm just going to show you, I have my canon novels kind of stacked here, and I have them in chronological order. So we got Master and Apprentice, which is early days. That's like episode prior to episode 1, all the way to Black Spire, which is the most
recent at the end there. But now we're at the point where it's like we're only going to be getting stuff here because of High Republic, so I'm going to have to shove room over there later. But which one of these do I recommend? Well, let's see here. James talked about Lord of the Sith, so I don't think I need to say any more. He said it pretty succinctly. Lords of the Sith, great, great book. I'm going to talk about Catalyst, though. I think Catalyst deserves to be mentioned. It is literally like they took Rogue One, and it was a 4-hour movie, and they chopped it and took the first 2 hours and put it into this book, and then everything else we got was the movie itself. Catalyst really just slides nicely into Rogue One. I definitely wouldn't recommend the Thrawn books. Sorry, not a fan. But I'm going to go, if I had to only pick one here, only one book on this whole thing, I'm going to maybe throw you for a loop. I don't know, but I'm going to pick Alphabet Squadron. This was the most shockingly good book out of all of these books. I wasn't expecting anything. I was just expecting a bunch of X-Wing pilots or whatever doing some stuff. And man, what we got in Alphabet Squadron was terrific. It is probably the best written Star Wars novel in this lineup. Although Bloodline is really damn close, because Bloodline made me cry. And it's very hard for a book to make me cry, but Bloodline managed to do that somehow. But wait, there's more. So what I showed you over there was canon novels. Now I have the canon junior novels and young adult novels. And again, these are in chronological order. That's not, get out of here, George R.R. Martin. You didn't write Star Wars books. But we got, starting with Queen's Shadow, which takes place episode 1-ish, after episode 1. And then going all the way to these three, which came out, prior to The Force Awakens. They were part of the journey. And I just kind of gobbled these up because you can read these in like an hour. They're meant for younger readers anyway. But I like them because they're cool and they have nice covers and such. Well, obviously, I mean, we all know which books are getting recommended here, right? I mean, Lost Stars and Leia, Princess of Alderaan go together like peanut butter and jelly. These are two excellent books. Again, this is just one of the most simply brilliant books with the Star Wars name to be slapped on it ever. Look how thick and juicy it is. That's really, if you're in need of entertainment for quarantine purposes, you got a lot of chunky fiction in your hands to last you a long time. But I'm also going to recommend From a Certain Point of View, because I love From a Certain Point of View. I hope they make more of these. I hope they make one for each movie, because I love it a lot. And just the idea of 40 short stories by 40 authors, oh, brilliant. But there's more. Let's keep going down here. These are the reference books. This is what I love. These are my favorite types of Star Wars books. Again, there's not all Star Wars here. There's some other stuff. But I have an old visual dictionary from Legends time. I have this, which is a really strange book because it's called the Ultimate Visual Guide. So it's like a visual dictionary, but not quite. And it covers like a weird spread. It covers like the movies and the comics, and then like video games and behind the scenes. That's a weird one, but it's a nice little oddity, so I keep it around, and I can't put it back in with one hand, so I'm just gonna leave it there for now. And then there's the visual dictionaries, baby, these sexy canon ones. Oh, I can't get enough of those. I love them so much. It would have been nice if the Rise of Skywalker one had some more about Palpatine in it, but that's neither here nor there. And then, of course, my favorite reference book of all time, Complete Locations. I highly recommend this. You will get lost in Complete Locations. Then there's the Essential Atlas, which is not canon anymore, but it's a huge, thick, juicy, giant book about just the galaxy at large and the history of the galaxy, and it's all original art. I can't recommend this book enough. Again, legends, but fun legends. And then I have the art books here as well, which you can always get lost in. But the art books, you can't, they're fast. They go fast is what I mean. You read them very quickly because it's mostly just pictures. But there's still more. So you've all heard the phrase coming out of the closet, but I'm going to go into the closet now because I'm going to show you the last of the books here. Yes, I have a long closet, so I keep a lot of my Star Wars books in here. All right, so here we go. So first and foremost, we've got, what's this right here? We've got these Shakespeare Star Wars books, which are awesome and they're hilarious. And if you love Star Wars and Shakespeare, you are going to have a blast. The guy who wrote them, Ian Desher, he also made versions with Back to the Future and Mean Girls So that's a thing too. But then over here, whoa, I got Simpsons books over there. Over here is my Marvel Comics Star Wars books. I've been keeping up with a lot of Marvel comics. I'm not a huge comic guy. I don't buy a lot of comics, but Marvel Star Wars has been good to me. It's been a good run, and I don't even have everything because I don't want everything. I only bought the ones I wanted. And again, this is in chronological order. So the Darth Maul one is first, going up through to the Star Wars one, etc., ending with Allegiance, which is the one with Rey. Rey's pretty. Look at that pretty drawing of Rey. The art on those is great. So those are, if you're a comic person and you have Star Wars comics, those can last you a hell of a long time. As you can see, there is a bunch of them. And most of these are good. They're not all winners, but most of these are good. We're just going to keep moving over. There's a board game there. There's some more books, but there's more Star Wars here. There's Star Wars and History. Where am I? There I am. Star Wars and History. This is a nice little, educational book. It talks about the parallels between Star Wars and history. See, Queen Amidala built the pyramids. It's all canon. Just read it. This is a book by Steve Sansweet, 1,000 Collectibles, Memorabilia, and Stories from a Galaxy Far, Far Away. Steve Sansweet is the owner of the biggest Star Wars collection in the world. And this is just kind of like a chronicle of that. This was a really cool book that I've owned for years and years. It's Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, The Secrets of. And it just kind of talks about, the secrets of how they made it, like a behind the scenes look at making Shadows of the Empire. It's not amazing because it's not written from the point of view of a fan. It's written from the point of view of a business person. So it's very dry, but you might enjoy it. This is something sweet. I really wanted to share this. My friend Rachel, who unfortunately passed away a couple years ago, was cleaning out her apartment. This was about a couple months before she died. And she found this book that belongs to her ex-boyfriend. And she was mad at her ex-boyfriend. So she was like, hey, Andrew, you like Star Wars. I would love to give you this book. So she gave me this book. She wrapped it up for my birthday and gave it to me. And it's The Art of Star Wars Galaxies, that old role-playing game. So I always think of my friend Rachel when I see this book. And even though I never played Star Wars Galaxies, I was flattered that she thought of, taking the time to wrap it up and give it to me when she could have just as easily thrown it away and nobody would have blamed her. Then we have, look at these. These are the reference books that made my childhood right here. These three. The Essential Guide to Vehicles and Vessels, Guide to Characters, Guide to Planets and Moons. Those three books are the reason I felt confident to challenge Darth War to a trivia contest. They're also not the reason that I won, but that's neither here nor there. Characters, these are new now. The Characters, Vehicles, and Weapons. Those are the new essential guides. They updated them for the prequel era with much better art and actual color, because these ones are in black and white. This actually, James Razile and Erin gave this to me for my birthday. I have yet to read it. It's on the list, though, The Essential Guide to Warfare. So that's going to be keeping me company during the what do you call it? I forgot the word, the quarantine. Thank you. This is going to be keeping me company during the quarantine. This is in the same vein as that Essential Atlas I showed you. It's just a very thick, juicy piece of legends. And then if we go down here, see, like I said, there's more books. There's more books everywhere. Star Wars Made Easy, Star Wars Super Graphic. Those are fun, but again, you can read those in like 20 seconds. But I want to go down here to these books right here. Now, these are Legends. You can see the Legends things there. And Labyrinth of Evil, that's Legends as well. But this is where I keep my Legends books. I got Darth Plagueis. I got, you can see back there, Outbound Flight and Allegiance. Shadows of the Empire. Still probably my favorite book cover of Star Wars Legends. Maybe even all Star Wars. I don't know. Lost Stars is a pretty good cover too. Then I've got my two favorite Legends books. Battle Surgeons and Jedi Healer, the two MedStar books. These are so cool, man. I don't know why they were overlooked. They're just Clone Wars novels, but they're great. I've got the Thrawn trilogy, which was okay. I wasn't a huge fan of the Thrawn trilogy. Shatterpoint, Dark Lord, and the Darth Bane book, the first one. Yeah, out of all of those, none really made an impression except these two MedStar ones. And then over here, as you can see, I have the game books from that Star Wars Missions game that I told you about. And these are, it's like a choose your own adventure role-playing thing. And those were a lot of fun. I miss those. One day I'll play those again. Maybe I'll film myself playing those. Hell, it's not like we have anything better to do, COVID. So, yeah, those are Star Wars books. Those are how I'm going to be occupying my time. And maybe if you've got these books, you can occupy your time too.
Here at Rebel Scum Podcast, we love to share our top fives. This is my opportunity to say my top five, and my nephew,
Evan.
is going to share his top five. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's start with number 5. So who is your number 5 top Star Wars character?
Number 5 is Vader. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is C-3PO. Okay, all right. Let's do number 4. Who's your number 4?
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren.
Who's your number 4?
I think my number 4 is going to be Yoda. Yoda. Yeah. Okay. So yours is Kylo Ren. Mine's Yoda.
3.
Number 3. Who's your number 3?
My number 3 is Chewbacca.
Chewbacca. Okay.
What's your number 3?
Leia. That's my number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 2.
My number 2 is Stormtrooper.
Stormtrooper. Okay. Solid. All right. My number 2 is Chewie. Number 1. Dun, da, da, da. Who's your number 1 favorite Star Wars character?
My number 1 is Finn. Who's your number 1?
My number 1 is Wicket. Do you see there's like a pattern here? Mine are all pretty much animals. Well, I class them as animals.
Mine are like almost all
You've
people.
got like, yes, yours are
Except
all
Chewbacca.
people except for Chewbacca. Okay, cool. That was fun. Ooh, do that again. Ooh, there we go. All right. Thank you. I am Erin, and this is
Evan.
All right. Thank you for tuning in to our top 5 Star Wars characters. And finally, Andrew is back with his 2015 review of Return of the Jedi.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm a YouTuber. So, in 2015, Fox gave us this weird movie called Star Wars, and it was like stupid with lasers and robots and shit. And then in 2017, even though nobody asked for it, they gave us an even stupider sequel. They've been spouting this as some kind of trilogy. I don't know why they're bothering, but now it's December 2019, and we finally got the third movie in this pile of horse manure, Return of the Jedi. Well, I'm a YouTuber who talks about movies, so let's talk about this movie. Now, this is going to be hard because I thought the first 2 were bad, but this is the worst of all. Like, where do I even begin? First, that big tentacle monster in the desert was stupid. It looked dumb. And why did they have to go back to Luke's home planet for this? Couldn't they have come up with a new planet? This was just stupid fan service. Oh, and Luke Skywalker has a green lightsaber because they're just making shit up now. The clearly defined rules where good guys have blue and bad guys have red, that gets thrown out the window because Richard Marquand is an asshole. So they've been talking about Jabba the Hutt and building up this Jabba the Hutt guy for 3 movies, and now when we finally see him, he's just a big fat puppet who doesn't do anything. He doesn't even fight anybody. Lame. Oh, and Boba Fett's back for like 4 minutes. Don't get me started on Boba Fett. They had a chance. They had a chance to redeem this character after the shit show that is The Empire Strikes Back. And somehow, they managed to make him even worse. I'm glad he's dead. I am just glad he's dead at this point. I don't care anymore. Alright, now this next part makes me really, really upset. So we had that whole cliffhanger ending from the last movie. Now we waited 2 years. 2 whole years to see Luke return and train with Yoda. He made that promise. I'll return, I promise. So now we finally get to see him return to Yoda. And what do we get? Yoda is in one scene and he doesn't do anything. He just lies in bed and dies. That's it. Everybody on the internet wanted to see Yoda fight the Emperor with lightsabers. Everybody wanted that. Instead, they totally disrespected the character and shortchanged him and gave him a lame, glorified cameo with a pointless death that made no sense. He just drops dead because he's old, I guess. He just coughs a bit and he's like, I'm old, time to die now. What the fuck is that? Yoda deserved better. And you can tell that the filmmakers did this just to spite Irvin Kershner because they're racist anti-Semites. I'm starting a petition on Indiegogo to have this movie stricken from the record so we can get a third film that doesn't push Yoda off to the side. So far, I have 11 signatures. Sign my petition now. Hashtag Justice for Yoda. And then, they have the audacity to throw in this awful last-minute twist where Mr. Convenient Ghost shows up and tells Luke Skywalker that Princess Leia has been, wait for it, his twin sister this whole time. Look, George Lucas has done interviews, snippets of which were quoted in BuzzFeed articles that I read once, where he said explicitly he never planned to have Leia be Luke's sister. That was not in the cards when he made the first movie. This clearly shows that these guys didn't plan anything in advance. It's so fucking sloppy, and it spits in the face of Lakers like me who knew that Luke and Leia were supposed to be together and kiss and have babies. They don't care. They don't care. That's what it comes down to. The filmmakers do not care. Whoever wrote this is, just like Return of the Jedi itself, a piece of shit. So the magic ghost says that the twins were hidden away from Vader after they were born so that the Emperor couldn't find them. Which means that at some point, Vader had to learn that Luke Skywalker was his son. So with that being the case, shouldn't we have gotten a scene in The Empire Strikes Back where Vader learns that information? Isn't that kind of an important character moment for him? And if Vader's so strong in the Force, when he was spending all that time with Princess Leia in the first movie, why didn't he sense, hey, this is my daughter? I'll tell you why, because this twin thing was shoehorned in at the last second, and it's the worst idea anybody has ever had. So then we go to the rebel ships and they plan their attack, and I'm just like, who the hell are these people, Mon Mothma and Admiral Akbar? We've seen the rebellion in 2 movies now, and we've never seen these 2 characters before. Clearly, the SJWs just shoved them in there so that they could please feminists and people who have octopus fetishes. Oh yeah, and now there's another Death Star. Real original, guys. These are professional writers, okay? Professional writers got paid to make this. And the best they could come up with was a second Death Star that's a little bit bigger than the first one. It's just a rehash of part 1, and it sucks. The Emperor. Oh boy, the Emperor. The Emperor is the poster boy for wasted characters. I thought Boba Fett was, but no. The Emperor is the poster boy. The first time you see him, he's just a giant hologram. That's it. Now, we finally get him in person, and all that happens is he just sits in his chair in his stupid throne room, and then they kill him. We never get to learn anything about him, and we never get to see him fight Yoda with a lightsaber. It's garbage. He's an absolute waste. Why did they even bother creating him? Darth Vader should have just been the leader of the Empire from the start. Why did you have to shoehorn in this puppet master if he's not going to do jack shit? Oh, scratch that. He can do one thing. He can shoot lightning from his fingers, because now apparently we're just making up force powers willy-nilly. Stupid. Luke Skywalker is supposed to be a hero. He's a Jedi, and they spat in the face of his character during that final duel with Darth Vader, because he starts angrily slashing at Vader and chopping off his hand and just attacking him in a fit of rage. Luke Skywalker would never attack in rage. He's had training as a Jedi. He has surpassed all that, and this is the final chapter. So he should be a perfect, flawless hero who never makes mistakes by now. But no, Richard Marquand goes against everything the character stands for and just has him attack Darth Vader in a blind flurry of rage. And why is he so upset? just because Vader made a comment about his twin sister. A stupid, shoehorned twin sister that he never should have had in the first place. Hashtag not my Luke. If you'd like to join me in sending death threats to Richard Marquand, here's his Twitter handle. So Darth Vader redeems himself, and everything he ever did that was bad is fine now, and he's fine, and he's a good guy, but then he dies. And then, what happens? He shows up as a ghost, because of course he does. Everybody does. Everybody's a ghost in these movies. But here's the thing, his body doesn't disappear. Obi-Wan's does, Yoda's does. That makes sense, fine. They disappear, they become ghosts. Vader's body stayed right the hell where it dropped. Luke even burned it because he had to do something with it. So how is Vader magically a ghost? There are no rules to this because it's idiotic and it makes no sense, and Richard Marquand is the worst human being on the face of the earth. So, it's the end of your so-called epic trilogy, and you're gonna cap it off with a bunch of teddy bear Muppets having a party. That might be the weakest ending I have ever seen in a motion picture. A teddy bear party is not epic. It is the farthest thing from epic. It's like they made this movie for little kids or something. Which would be stupid because little kids cannot appreciate and understand Star Wars like I do. At this point, the only way they could possibly redeem this dumpster fire of a franchise is this. You get back the original creator, you get back George Lucas, put him behind the camera, and have him do some other kind of trilogy about the backstory of all these characters. Because that's the most interesting part. Who is the Emperor? How did Darth Vader become Darth Vader? What was Obi-Wan Kenobi like when he was younger? Who are Luke and Leia's mother? We never learn her name. That is what people want to see. Get George Lucas to make the backstory. I guarantee you it will be 1,000,000 times better than these 3 pieces of movie diarrhea. Bottom line, I wanted Avatar 2, but Fox gave me this weak-ass trilogy instead. I hate Star Wars. I hate everyone who ever worked on Star Wars. And if you like Star Wars, you're stupid, and I hate you too. Subscribe to my channel!
Thanks for joining us today on this week's Scavenger Scum. As always, I am Erin, and
I'm Ella.
I'm Emery.
I'm Evan.
And we have spoken. Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.